See if it goes live. All right. We are live. Welcome to the AMA with Mark and Allyson from MailChimp. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us. We're excited.
I'm so excited to talk about marketing strategy and branding at MailChimp. Mark, we had such an awesome time with you at Wistia Fest. We're just huge super fans of MailChimp around here, honestly. So we can't wait to get this going. Everyone who's watching, if you want to tweet some highlights or screenshots of like funny faces at any point, that would be super good. You can do that with the hashtag WistiaAMA. And if you have any further questions during the broadcast, feel free to post those as comments in this thread down below. And Allyson will be checking those, and they will answer as many as they can before 3:30. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of here and mute myself and take it away, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks. Well, we're big fans of Wistia too, so this is a pleasure for us. And so let's see. We'll start with a question from Elise from Wistia. She asks, how did each of you get involved with MailChimp? What's your hiring story, and what were you doing before? I've been at MailChimp for 6 years now. My 6-year anniversary, I think, is actually next week. MailChimp was a very small company when I started. Prior to MailChimp, I worked at a music magazine called Paste. It was an indie magazine. It was a really fun job that went away with the financial crisis and the move from so many magazines from print to digital. So back in 2009, when I was working at Pace and things weren't going well, I realized I needed a job. I found this place called MailChimp, thought it would be something I could kind of tolerate for a little while before I found something else. And it turned out to be just an absolutely incredible opportunity, and I've loved every day of my time here since.
So I've been at MailChimp for just under 2 years now. I was looking to move to Atlanta. I'm from upstate New York originally, and before this I was working at a paper manufacturing company. So yes, it was like Dunder Mifflin. I had a really great cubicle, and my fiance was moving down here for grad school, so I was reaching out to some folks in my network, and a friend of mine actually knew Mark and suggested that I talk to him, and the rest is kind of history. So I was doing digital marketing and project management and social media at the paper company. So,
and here we are today.
Yeah.
Let's see. Daniel asks, I've used some other services. MailChimp has always had the cleanest interface. What's the philosophy behind the design and user experience? Well, we have a very customer-focused mindset here at MailChimp. Design has always been very important to us. And our approach has always been that we take the tools in this product category that have historically been hard to use, complicated, bloated, typically geared toward sort of enterprise type customers, and sort of consumerize them, make them more accessible to people who have smaller businesses and smaller lists and are maybe just getting started. So yeah, that's the approach. Put the customer first, look at it through their eyes, pay particular attention to design and experience, and that's how we do it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and not just to kind of think about it from our customer's perspective, but we have a whole research team here at MailChimp that spends a lot of time surveying and interviewing and visiting with our customers, and getting our customer feedback through different contact forms, and kind of sharing that with our product team so that they really understand what it's like to be using our application and not just what it's like to be building it.
Cool. Austin asks, Gary Vaynerchuk recently talked about the power of having a mascot for your business. How is working with Freddie? Is he a team player? Et cetera, et cetera. Freddie is really good to work with.
Yeah, he's great. He's real fun.
Yeah.
He has lots of different iterations. We had Robot Freddie here a couple weeks ago. He was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that having a mascot is not a substitute for a marketing strategy. having a mascot is not a marketing strategy. I don't think that it's something that, it's not a shortcut necessarily. I think there are certainly benefits to having a mascot, clearly. And it's a great thing to have in the mix, but there's a lot more involved. And the things that are really important more than a smiling face are the whole experience that the customer has with your company and service. So Freddie, because I feel like part of the reason that Freddie has been sort of a successful mascot for MailChimp is because Freddie represents some ideas that the whole company promotes and stands behind and has been very consistent about. So things like treating our customers with respect, making work fun, creativity and independence. Those are ideas that run throughout our company. They run throughout all of our marketing. They run throughout our service, customer service. And so Freddie has kind of come to represent those things for us and has become kind of a powerful icon in that way. So I would say that in that respect, Freddie's been awesome. He is wonderful. He comes in so many different shapes and sizes, and he is definitely a very important part of our story. But generally speaking, the things I just mentioned are also really important, and making a penguin the mascot of your company or whatever is not necessarily going to do much for you if there's not a whole lot of other things going on as well. Let's see. Justine asks, and I think there are a few other questions like this, about measurement and what role measurement plays in our creative marketing pursuits, and what kinds of goals we have in mind with our different marketing initiatives. We sort of break marketing into two channels at MailChimp. So we have product marketing and brand marketing. Ally works on the product side, and she can speak to that. Yep. On the brand side, which is most of the kind of more weird and creative stuff, typically our goal in that respect, or in that world, is to create awareness for MailChimp. So people who maybe don't know MailChimp, we want them to become familiar with MailChimp. People who are familiar with MailChimp, we want to create a good feeling for them. We want to sort of create a very positive association with our name and with our service. And so that can be a tricky thing to measure. And sometimes we can't measure that stuff at all. Sometimes we don't. So the things I have in mind are things like billboards we do some of. We give away lots of things like hats and toys and shirts. We sponsor lots of conferences. And we measure things like, conversation on Twitter, people talking about MailChimp, people posting pictures of the things that we give them. And we can get a pretty good sense of our success in just around conversation. It's a pretty fuzzy metric, but we know we have a pretty good idea when something is like really blowing up. Serial obviously being a very big example of that, but like we're doing a giveaway with the Reply All podcast right now, and it's kind of an ongoing giveaway where we are giving away 1,000 of these toys like once a month approximately for the whole year, and each toy is different, and we're watching sort of how quickly those toys go, and there's been an incredible uptake on how fast they're going. So the first time we did it, it took a few days for all of the toys to be given away. The second time it took like 24 hours. The third time it took like 6 hours, and that time is just getting shorter and shorter, which means that people are excited about it. They're looking forward to it and waiting for it to hit, and they're in sort of this collect all the toys kind of mindset, which is awesome for us. But then also we measure, people when they get the toys, they get really excited and they post pictures, and the number of pictures that we're seeing with the toys is increasing dramatically. So those are all very loose, fuzzy indicators to us that people are engaging, they're excited, and you're giving them stuff that they're really happy to have. And it's pretty loose, but that's about as far as we can get on the brand side, or as far as we choose to get on the brand side.
We also attend a lot of events, and we choose to work with people that we want to see succeed, and we want to support, whether it's the people themselves or the ideas or communities that they're trying to build. That's where I started, was on the brand side, and kind of liked our product so much and was spending so much time paying attention to our product that I moved over to the product side of our team. And really kind of what we're doing is getting people to know and understand everything to do with MailChimp's application, which is our feature set that people access via the web. It includes our API. It also includes our mobile apps, and our integrations and how we work with different partners like Wistia and Shopify and Facebook and Twitter. And so my real goal and kind of what our team is working towards is getting people to know and understand what our application can do, its full capabilities, and how it supports all of our customers in kind of meeting all of their business goals. So we talk a lot with our customers. We work really closely with the research team to understand, people's motivations and what are things that they're using a lot in our application and why, and can we tell their stories and share those stories in order to help more people be successful and have more ideas. We also work a lot with educating our customers, so we do things like working with Skillshare and doing workshops at a lot of different kinds of events, and really kind of focusing on which features are more appropriate for which groups of our customers. So if you're a nonprofit, how do we talk to you about the integrations with your systems that are important, ways to communicate with your donors, how to use things like segmentation and automation to quickly and effectively communicate with people, and then reporting on that later so that you can keep doing better and keep testing and continue to have successful email marketing campaigns.
And the other piece on the product side as well is obviously signing up new customers. And so there are, we do quite a bit of that as well with things like AdWords and, digital marketing and, things that are more directly designed to create conversion. We track all of those things. We occasionally will track things like conference sponsorship with special URLs and things like that, but I find that the return on that to not be particularly great, and the experience that the person has with us is also not particularly great. And so sometimes I just feel like it's not necessarily a great strategy to, give someone something at a conference that's like MailChimp.com/this conference 2015/GQX20 or whatever. Like it sucks, and like nobody's gonna go to that link. You're going to be disappointed because nobody's going to go to that link. They're going to feel like you're just trying to sell them something, and I don't know. I just don't think it's generally very valuable. So we do pay close attention when people get a little bit closer to the buying decision, and we try to, our site is very, very much optimized to get people in the door as quickly as possible, to tell them the things that they want to know about our product. Those things are all very important to us, and I don't want to sound like we don't measure things, but there are things where we kind of take more of a philosophical stance and say, with things like creating brand awareness, our main goal is just for people to walk away with a good feeling about MailChimp. Because, at the end of the day, most of the time people in the world who come into contact with us through a podcast or something like that are not at the point where they're ready to buy an email marketing solution. Like that's not something that they may never have a reason to buy MailChimp, or if they do, it's probably not going to be at that moment. So what we want to do is leave them with the name in their head and some kind of positive vibes about the name, so that when that time comes, we're the first people that they think of, and we kind of create sort of a bias for MailChimp. That's the goal. So we want to create, sort of an advantage for ourselves, a bias for MailChimp, so that when that decision time comes, where we have an advantage against our competitors.
And we
because
also
of the love they feel from MailChimp.
Yeah, we one thing we do is send a lot of email, and one thing that I think brand marketing does for us is opens the door for having a better conversation about our product. If we're doing some product marketing or we're doing an ad placement, that ad, all it has to do is kind of let you know about a new feature that we might be releasing. Because we've been so successful on the brand side, whereas if we hadn't spent so much time and effort and energy in that space, if we're doing one display ad, we have to convince you that you need to know our name, you have to want to work with us, and you have to know our features all within about 3 seconds. And so our message kind of across the company is to empower our users. That comes from our product development team, that comes from our brand marketing, and it also comes from how we communicate about the features and what they can do for our customers. Not just because we want to market it, but it's helping them be better at their jobs and help their businesses succeed. Sounds very altruistic, but it's good for everybody.
Dan asks, or he comments, love what you do with marketing. My daughter wears her MailChimp hat in the middle of the Florida summer. That's wonderful to hear. How much strategy is involved with the Freddie campaigns like hats, books, shirts, toys, versus throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what sticks? So how much of this is strategy and how much of it is just experimentation? That's a great question. It's a little bit of both. I think that we, on the strategy side, with all of these different things that we make and give away, we start with the perspective that we want to do things for people that they are going to genuinely be excited about. That's kind of that's the foundation. So like we think of when we give something away, we don't think about it so much like swag, we think about it like a gift. So what can we give, what kind of a gift can we give people that will make them genuinely feel like, wow, this is awesome. I actually like this thing. I actually want to take it home and show my family, or I want to put it on my desk. Like this actually makes me feel good and not like a, visor with a logo on it. So that's where the strategy part is, and that is something that we take very seriously. And everything we make, we think, is this something I would actually like to have? And if someone from some company somewhere handed this thing to me, would I actually like it and want to bring it into my life, or would I just wait until the person left the room and throw it in the garbage can? So that's the strategy side. And then everything else after that is just experimentation. Everything else is just, let's try it and see if it works. The hats were kind of a weird thing that our co-founder came up with. And, the hats have been around for probably 5 years. And when we started doing them, I had no idea whether people would like them or not, but people loved them. And so we kept making them. Same with the shirts, the toys, the playing cards. I mean, all of those things are literally us sitting around being like, wouldn't it be cool if, we did this? And how could we get that done? Who could we partner with? How could we kind of take it to a level that is so cool that people are going to actually be like, actually surprised and excited and compelled to want to keep it, want to talk about it, want to share it.
Want to covet it.
Yeah. So that's it. We have a very clear philosophy about it, and then we just experiment and have fun with it. Sometimes things are super, blow up and people are excited. Sometimes people are, just kind of lukewarm on things. Depends.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that might get to our cutting room floor before we get to production, or that you don't hear about, like cereal, because it wasn't that successful. Which we do have a lot of successful things. You just don't get to hear about the things that we don't want to talk about because they didn't do that well.
Yeah, and we also have we have an approach that we call the part spin. So we experiment with lots of things. Sometimes we hit a home run on the first try and we're excited about it and everything's great and high five to everyone. Sometimes we make something that we're really excited about and for whatever reason, the goals of the project changed, or it didn't turn out like we thought it would. We don't delete everything and start over. It's I guess it's kind of a virtual thing, but we put those things in the parts bin. What that means is we file it away somewhere, and it is very common for us when we're working, 3 months later on a project that is completely unrelated, to be trying to solve a problem that we were trying to solve back then, and we realize, oh wait, remember we made this thing, and why don't we pull that back out and dust it off and sort of repurpose it for this other thing. And that happens all the time, particularly with the design and development team. Different animations that we do, different illustration that we do, different ways of interacting with web pages. Like there's lots of that stuff in our parts bin. We have a photographer who takes photos all day long of things we make, of things around the office, of people doing weird stuff. And, we always end up with places to put those things, even when a lot of the time we don't necessarily know where it's going to go when we start. So I would say if it's a great approach to have sort of this parts bin mentality where it kind of lowers the pressure on having to kind of hit a home run every time, because you're just kind of riffing on ideas, but it also creates this really nice backlog of ideas. So you can pull those things out later. Let's see. Kevin asked about Serial. How big was the influx of new users? How did you measure it? Did Adnan do it? And something about a MailChimp shirt. I'll go in, or we can go in reverse order.
Yeah.
I can't give you a MailChimp shirt, but you're welcome to make one yourself. Did Adnan do it? It's a big question. I don't know.
I'm going to not have a comment. We don't have enough information.
Yeah.
That's all. And I think that was the whole point, right?
Yeah. And then how big? So this is one of the things that is on the brand side that we don't have a very clear measurement of. So that ad that you heard at the beginning of Serial every single week was wonderful in so many ways. And with a podcast ad like that, unless we had like put a coupon code in there or something, or a special URL, it's hard for us to track exactly how people can directly come to MailChimp from that. So we don't really know, and that was not our intention. But we do know that for that run of 10 or 12 weeks last fall, people were talking about MailChimp in a way that they had never talked about MailChimp before. MailChimp kind of broke through the social, sort of cultural zeitgeist in a way that we never had before. There were hundreds of people tweeting every single day about us. We were mentioned on the Colbert Report, on Saturday Night Live. People are still talking about it. So it in that way, we can measure conversation around it, which is just crazy. New users around that time of year, like our growth is always really good because it's the fourth quarter and people use email to, sell things. And so that's the time of the year when people like to sell things. So our growth is always really good at that time of the year. So we don't have a good way of kind of our normal kind of organic growth. But we know that, like I said, we know that people became familiar with MailChimp in an amazing way. And we also have, so this one other thing that I noticed that's pretty cool is that we have in all of our free accounts, when you send with MailChimp for free, we include a MailChimp badge in the footer of those emails. That badge has always gone in all of our free emails, like billions of emails a month go out with that badge. And prior to Serial, I don't know that anyone ever commented on that badge. And after Serial, we just started seeing people all the time recognizing that this email was sent with MailChimp, and that's the thing from the Serial podcast, and that's so cool, and that's it. I mean, they're not using MailChimp yet, but it's been interesting to track the awareness we created with Serial to people connecting it to the actual service that we offer in emails that they receive from people who do use MailChimp.
And one thing that was really special about kind of all of that conversation around MailChimp was that we kind of very decidedly decided not to encourage it on our end, really specifically. Whereas, you know, there's a lot of brands and a lot of companies that if they're getting that kind of attention on the scale that we were getting at that time, would really try to take advantage of it and try to own the audience's participation in some way. And we wanted to let everybody else have it. We may have had a couple jokes here and there on Twitter, but we're not, you know, trying to capitalize that in any way, kind of taking the hashtag and forcing, trying to convince people to sign up for MailChimp. We're letting people enjoy it and enjoy it for what it is and just bask in the glow of the attention at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see, let's hit a few of these kind of quickly so we can get to more of these questions before it's late. Meryl asks, what are some of your favorite campaigns you've done for MailChimp? What are some wild ideas that have been scrapped? We've done lots of really awesome stuff. I think one of my favorites was when we were approaching our first 1 million users. And so we did a big, for us at the time, it was a really big giveaway. We gave away, I don't know, like 5,000 shirts and a couple thousand hats and a bunch of toys. Like we did this huge giveaway and it was all around getting to 1 million. And so we had this web page with this giant ticker that was ticking up as people subscribed, and we had kind of warmed people up that we were going to do this giveaway as soon as we reached 1 million. And so for a few days leading up to that 1,000th user, we had created a bunch of hype around getting to 1 million. So that was super fun because not only were people outside the company watching it, but I think it created a lot of excitement inside the company as we were all like kind of huddled around these screens watching this ticker go up, and we all cheered when it hit 1 million, and the giveaway thing didn't break, so we were all happy about that. Things that have been scrapped, we've scrapped so many different things. We had one kind of ambitious project a couple of years ago to make a magazine with like profiles of some of our favorite users that was going to be gorgeous, and no one was doing anything like it at the time, and we were excited about it, but it kind of it wandered kind of so far off of the sort of the marketing strategy branch that we ultimately.
That's in the parts bin now.
It's in the parts bin.
Yeah.
Let's see, what is the, Philip asks, what's the most powerful feature we have that our competitors don't? I would say it's our emoji.
Oh yeah, our emojis in the subject line is really, really cool.
Yeah, nobody has that.
Nobody has it, and it's exciting for me because I can see in my inbox who's using MailChimp really quickly now. Yeah. But I would say one of the things that our customers love most about our app, which I think is really special, is that it's really powerful, but still really easy to use. So you don't have to have a ton of training to do things like marketing automation and advanced segmentation and stuff that sounds really complicated and hard. We work really hard to make that easy.
Yeah. Randy asks if email marketing is dead. It's absolutely not dead. We sent 16 billion emails last month alone, so we're doing just fine. Small businesses should absolutely use it. It's one of the most maybe the most effective channel that you can possibly use in terms of directly impacting your bottom line.
And measuring it.
Yeah, and you can totally measure it, which is awesome, unlike some of the things we do. Let's see. Mike asks, what's the book that most helped you? What book do you not like?
I'm going to take that one. I don't read any business books. I don't like them. I read a lot. I really like reading fiction, but I watch a lot of kind of creative mornings and TED Talks, and videos online are easier for me to digest. And we have like 30 seconds, so what do you want?
I would say I don't really have one that I hate. I mean, I'm not a fan of growth hacking, I think is what the kids call it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm generally into doing things that are respectful of people and try to genuinely make a positive impact to them, and also creating a service that we know our customers are going to like, and not trying to kind of, I don't know, hack it in any way. So I typically stay away from that more kind of growth hacky type approach. I think if you're interested in learning about branding, there's a guy named Marty Neumeier who is wonderful. He wrote a book called The Brand Gap that's fantastic. He wrote another one called Zag. They're both really quick reads, really great, sort of high level. This is what branding is. This is why it's important. This is how it can sort of work in your company. He wrote another one actually called The Designful Company that's also wonderful. Marty Neumeier is his name. He's great. So.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good question to kind of wrap it up on. The recap post obviously will be titled MailChimp on Growth Hacking.
I don't want to be associated with that, please.
Oh, no, we're going to make it happen. No, no, but seriously, that's one of the reasons why we have you guys here at all, and why we love hearing from you, is because you are kindred spirits in that way of thinking about things. So really appreciate that. And I guess one last final question before we hit stop on this. I think our team around here, we have Elise over here and Meryl over here. We would like to know what your favorite flavor of ice cream is.
Ooh, all of them? I eat ice cream all the time.
Really?
Probably chocolate. That's my favorite.
Okay.
If I had to pick one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now I like Jenny's has a salted caramel that's really fantastic.
And their Buckeye one is really good.
Buckeye is good. Yeah, Jenny's, you can't go wrong.
Seriously, Jenny's in general, amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you everyone who added comments. We'll be in there in the comments also, just kind of answering and further discussing things in text form. This recording will be up as soon as this is over for you to watch over and over again as much as you want. And we'll also post a recap on our blog of some of the highlights. So thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, guys.